Hello and welcome to Inspiringly Different, Inspirieren Anders with another episode in English, my friends. Today's guest is Giverny Deenik from the Netherlands. But since 2 years, Giverny is living on Tenerife with her husband and her little beautiful baby girl that she gave birth to a few months ago and is full mother mode already. We talk about that, about how it is for her to be a mother and what the downsides and the upsides are, and how is she coping with hard times and depressions. But also we talk about her past, because Giverny was struggling for quite some time when she was in the Netherlands, when she's lived in Amsterdam, the big city, because she didn't fit in any box. Then she moved to Australia to just escape that for a while and had a total mental breakdown, depression, and took some therapy and made some life changes. She gives you tips for what helped her if you're not fitting in any box. What is her tip for you? What should you do? How can you break out? How can you create a life that's worth living for you? And talk a lot about spirituality and yoga and. So, don't forget to subscribe to this podcast, like and share everything you see and like on Instagram. You can give a 5-star review if you like the podcast. It's non-cost and you make me very, very happy with that. But also you can donate some money via Patreon. Just check out the Patreon link below this episode in the description. And now I wish you a good time with this podcast and enjoy the episode. Live your life as if it were a ceremony. And with that words, warm welcome to everybody out there. This is Luca again. Welcome to Inspiringly Different, Inspirieren Anders. And with me together from the nice Netherlands, Giverny. Hi, Giverny.
Hi, hello.
How's it going in the Netherlands? Actually, you are at the moment in the Netherlands, but you're not living there anymore, right?
That's right. Yeah, no, I left the Netherlands in December 2018. And I've been living on Tenerife, Canary Islands,
nice.
For the past almost 2 years now.
Yeah, we were introduced through Yasmin, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. She's a very close friend of mine.
Yeah, when did you guys meet? When she moved to Tenerife as well?
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, we've known each other already for a little over a year.
Quite some time.
Yeah.
Yeah, she told me from you and that she's really looking forward to all the spiritual ceremonies you're going to conduct when she's back on Tenerife again.
Yeah, that was definitely our thing.
Yeah. When did you move to Tenerife? 2 years ago.
Yeah, so in October it will be 2 years.
Oh wow. Yeah, wow. How come?
Well, it kind of happened like on a whim. And it was all thanks to, the whole COVID pandemic situation that was going on. Because my partner and I, we had plans to, travel. We were traveling, and our plan was to kind of keep on traveling. We met 3 years ago. So like really the summer before the pandemic hit.
Yeah.
And our plan was to go to Brazil and to Panama and to Canada and the US, explore that whole side of the world. But yeah, then COVID hit and we got kind of like stuck in, we were in Spain at that time. And Spain had a very, very strict lockdown confinement period. So yeah, we got stuck in the city of Granada, which is a beautiful city, and we had an amazing setup, but stuck inside for 10 weeks. Yeah. I didn't go outside for 10 weeks.
Really, in the apartment?
Yeah, it was it was actually a little boutique hotel of a friend of ours. He invited us to come stay for the confinement there with his family. So we were super grateful for that. And So we had space and everything, and it was nice, and we had like a little community, like confinement community. But yeah, of course, at some point the walls still, come at you when you don't come outside for so many weeks. So
absolutely,
that
10
was really
weeks.
intense.
I mean, wow. And then you said, okay, let's get something, a nice house with a lawn or a big area to go out.
Yeah, so after, like, once the confinement period was over, we decided to get out of Granada because also the summer was coming closer, and Granada in summertime is like, it gets over 40 degrees there.
Oh.
So yeah, we really did not want to be there for that period. And then we kind of kept going, traveling through Andalusia. We lived by the coast for a little while by Cadiz. And eventually retraced our steps back to the other side of Andalusia. And from there, we decided to fly to the Canary Islands just to kind of explore. And the first island we went to was Lanzarote. And we stayed there for 1 month, which was beautiful. But Lanzarote is very dry.
Okay.
Very, very dry. And yeah, we're both like serious nature lovers. We love the forest. We love green, like lively, vibrant green.
Not a lot of green going on there.
No, except for the cacti. That was the only green that we saw. So, we wanted just some more aliveness, and then we decided to go to Tenerife and just check it out. And for me, I was really pleasantly surprised about the island because I know Tenerife, like I'm from the Netherlands. So, in the Netherlands, it has kind of like in Germany, I guess this
tourism vibe
stigma on it. Yeah, that it's a place where pensioners go, and it's all just resorts, all inclusive resorts and stuff. But there's surprisingly, and I mean, of course, somewhere I also knew that, like, the island has a lot more than
it's like Mallorca, right? Like we all have this stigma of Mallorca as this party island and Ballermann and Bierkönig and what else? But it's such a rich island. You can do everything there.
I bet. Yeah, Mallorca is still on my list. I'd love to visit someday.
You should go there, definitely.
Yeah. So and then we just decided to stay. So almost 2 years ago, and already in the first week we were there, and we looked at each other and like, I don't think we're going to leave, are we? No, I think we found our home for now.
Awesome. When you say everybody should live his life like a ceremony, what do you mean with that?
What I mean with that, that is a good question. So when I envision living life like a ceremony, I really envision doing everything, like the little mundane things of life, with a lot of intention, with a lot of presence, seeing the beauty and the divinity and the sacredness in every little thing you do, whether that is, going out for a walk in the forest, which of course there it's quite easy because you're surrounded by nature.
There is actually a forest on Tenerife, so you can use it.
There is a forest. Yes. But also in the smallest things, like cooking your dinner or brushing your teeth or things like that, to just do everything with this presence and intention, like, okay, I'm here now and this is what I am doing, and I'm trying not to be elsewhere.
So so you mean living life as it were a ceremony, like being consciously in the moment, like don't be distracted, don't multitask maybe? Yeah,
if it's possible. But I guess even if you're multitasking, if you're capable of it, like to do it with intention and with presence. I don't know. I'm not very good at that. I'm not a great multitasker, but
Yeah. Yeah, I heard once that multitasking is a myth. Like, no one can do two things at once good. You can't do two things at once, but quality will suffer at the end.
yes. Yes, that makes perfect sense to me.
Are you, Giverny, are you a spiritual person? Would you say that?
Yes, I am. I think I am. As in, I have a feeling there is more out there than meets the eye. There's a certain magic to life and things that are just not, that can't be explained. But I'm also recently, I don't know, the last years, I've also kind of felt like this whole stigma around the world, like spiritual, like whether you're a spiritual person. And I think there's a spectrum there, and maybe also different categories of being spiritual.
Yeah.
And if I would have to place myself in a category, it would be more like I would lean more towards like Tibetan Buddhism, so the Buddhist spirituality of life, just accepting life as it is, as it comes. Because I feel lately, especially, that there's a lot of, I don't know, I feel like spirituality is being monetized a lot lately.
Absolutely.
It's like, if you want to be spiritual, if you want to be happy in your life, come and do this course or do this or do that and do all that, and you will become spiritual and you will be healed. And that I feel I have a little bit of difficulty with that kind of spirituality.
So, I mean, the spirituality really grew popularity in the last years, in the last decade.
Yes.
And with popularity or with fame, there always come like people who use that for their own benefit, for their own benefit in forms of getting money out of it, like squeezing the last bit of euro out of it. And I think that's happening to spirituality as to many other things. Yeah, that grew popular. But nevertheless, I think, isn't that the end spirituality? If people grow spiritual, wouldn't that be a little bit better for our world? If people would be a little bit more spiritual, a little bit more connected to themselves, to like some bigger power. Not speaking of a religion, but I mean, maybe, I don't know. Is there a difference between religion and spirituality? I don't know. What would you say? Difficult.
Yeah, that is difficult, because I guess, if you would ask somebody whose religion is Christianity, they would say that they are spiritual.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
So yeah, I think they are related in a way. They are related in a way, and it's also because in spirituality, I think there is, in the end, it's about maybe also relationship to spirit, to divinity, to like there is a higher power,
a higher form,
there, or you have this feeling. Yeah, exactly. Whether that is true or not, in the end, it's like it's a relationship with something, someone outside of ourselves.
Yeah.
But maybe even not outside of ourselves, maybe still inside of ourselves, but like, yeah. And that is where it becomes more like broad and complicated. You can see it from different angles and different corners of spirituality and religion.
I mean, it's. I think generally you could say religion or spirituality, believing that not everything is random, like that there is something, like a bigger power, a higher form, something that is behind everything, something that is steering everything, something that created everything, whatever name you give it. I mean, there's no evidence so far, but maybe someday we will grow. We will get some evidence of that.
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah. But when you speak of ceremonies, Giverny, are you doing any ceremonies that, or did you find out, or did you find for yourself any ceremonies where you say, these are the ceremonies I really like doing, or that really benefit me, without like monetizing them, or only for you?
Yeah, so for me, I mean, gosh, now I must say, now that I'm a mother, I'm not like very focused on my practices at this moment.
I think that's
But
fine that you're focused on someone else.
I think so too. But before I became a mother, I had a very like quite a long list of practices that I would do. And yeah, for me, that really meant like getting up in the morning, preferably before the sunrise, or waking up with the sun, and setting up my space, my yoga mat, and put on like music and incense, and grab my journal and do all of that. Yeah, kind of in a ceremonialistic way, and like really setting the space to start my mornings.
Yeah.
And grab my cup of cacao or tea or whatever, and sip that mindfully, and setting intentions for the day ahead.
Yeah. Are you because once I had a cacao priestess on the podcast. Are you all hooked and all bought in cacao and ceremonies?
Hooked. I would not say hooked, but I do have a very, very deep appreciation and love for the cacao spirit, for sure. And I've also been working with this plant medicine for a couple years now. And I've also facilitated ceremonies to have other people also experience the spirit of cacao. But lately, like once I became pregnant, I just wasn't really focused on like facilitating for others anymore. It became really like, okay, going back into my own space and sitting with the spirit of cacao, just myself. And that is something I'm still doing now that I'm a new mom. And I notice, she really, really supports me on my journey. I feel, especially the journey of motherhood, because when people talk about like the cacao spirit, she's feminine. She is like a mother.
Chicory.
Exactly. Or ish cacao. And I can really feel, if I really tune in and sit with her, I really feel that nurturing, loving presence, and which is a great ally on my motherhood journey, for sure.
What would you say? How much did your life change since you gave birth, or since you became pregnant?
I mean, I don't even know who I was anymore before becoming a mother, honestly. It is the biggest, most intense transformation I have been through in my life. And I think, I don't think there is a bigger kind of transformation. Maybe there is, but for me, at least personally, I feel, I got blasted through a portal there where everything suddenly is new. And I look at the world around me, and everything I suddenly see with completely different eyes, and my values have changed, and how I move, how I think, how I speak.
How did your perspective of the world change? What do you mean with that?
I think for me, it's when I look at my daughter, who's still so fresh. I mean, she's not even 5 months old, so fresh in this world. And the way she looks at her environment, the way she looks at things around her, the tiniest little details that to me, after now almost 30 years in this body is like, oh yeah, it's just, oh yeah, that's a phone, that's a plate of food, that's a rock, whatever, you know. And then I see her looking at these things, and she is so drawn to everything she sees, and she wants to touch it, and she wants to put it in her mouth, and she's like studying every little detail. And when I see her do that, I find it so inspiring how she looks at the world. And I'm like, wow, yeah, that is how I would like to look at the world, you know, to look at the world through these childlike eyes of wonder, of like, wow, this is magic, this is insane, this is amazing.
Maybe become a little bit more humble to all the things around us, and a little bit more appreciative. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, being appreciative and not taking things for granted,
just as they are, and for granted. Exactly.
Especially for granted. I mean, we all lived through the pandemic, and I mean, you lived or you are living in Tenerife, and maybe saw many different countries on your journey through your life so far. And what I found out when I lived in Brazil is we take so many things for granted in Germany or in the Netherlands. I mean, the standard is quite similar in these two countries, that are not granted in any other countries. Like for example, in Brazil, it's not granted that there are no homeless people. I mean, the favelas are huge. Millions are living there in dire circumstances, and you have power blackouts every once in a while, every week at least once. And that is like, how many power blackouts do you have in the Netherlands? Maybe once a year, once a decade.
Exactly. and then it makes the news. Then it's like all that everybody talks about.
Yeah, because no one knew what to do. Like, okay, do we have candles?
Yeah. Wait, do you mean my Wi-Fi is not working?
Yeah.
Do you mean I can't watch my Netflix now?
How shall I stay on top of what's trending now?
Yeah, exactly.
In other countries. Yeah, power blackout is probably trending when you have a power blackout.
Yeah, so true.
Yeah. But are you... I mean, I see it when you talk about your daughter and motherhood, that you're pretty excited about it. But you also told me before we started recording that it's exhausting. Like, it can be exhausting because the nights are short. Yeah, your life is like focused on this one small person who is totally reliant to you, that you take care of her.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, it is exhausting. Yeah. It's motherhood has what I've come to experience, many facets and many highs and many lows. And already now in these almost 5 months, I have experienced the highest highs and the lowest lows.
Okay.
Like my emotions go like this, and one
spiking.
moment I'm like laughing and like I'm like woo, and I'm playing with her, and the other moment I'm like I have to lock myself in the bathroom for 5 minutes and just cry it all out, because it's so intense, and it's like, oh gosh, here I am just constantly taking care of this small human that is completely dependent on her caretaker, and then meanwhile, you know, like how am I supposed to take care of myself? Like, there is barely any time. My self-care has really gone from here to here right now. I'm not the priority at the moment, which I've accepted. Of course, that's why I've chosen to become a mother, because I knew that is one of the agreements.
One of the trade-offs you have to make. Exactly.
It's a sacrifice, and it's a sacrifice I happily make, but doesn't mean that at some moments when I am on my edge, that I find that very challenging and very very difficult and exhausting. For
sure. I mean, babies are they need you. I mean, they need you every day, every minute. Even when they are sleeping, sometimes they need you.
Absolutely. Yeah. She sleeps best in her mother's arms. So, yeah.
Skin to skin, huh?
Exactly.
Giverny,
exactly.
before you moved to Tenerife, how was your life in the Netherlands? Like, did you have a stable job? Did you went to university? Did you check all the boxes that society normally hands out to everybody?
Well, no.
No.
I did not tick the boxes. No, I tried to tick all the boxes reluctantly, but it was so difficult for me. I I never really liked school that much. I never liked to study. And I tried, I after high school, I tried out two different studies, two different bachelors, and both of them I dropped out at some point. Because being within this structure, it somehow, I felt deeply unhappy and deeply ungrounded and not connected to myself. And I was struggling with a lot of anxiety and depression and feelings of very low self-esteem. And I think it was also really because I was trying to keep up with ticking all these boxes like everyone else around me, and like society was telling me like, this is the path one should take. It just wasn't working for me. And I've always thought there was something wrong with me. Until I decided to break out of that and just say like, okay, this is not gonna work. This isn't working for me. And decided to go traveling. And then suddenly, meeting so many people, like my horizon started broadening, and I met so many people that also weren't ticking any of the boxes. And it's like, oh, wow. So I'm not the only one.
You're not alone.
I'm not alone. No, exactly. So so before I came to Tenerife, I was, so as I said at the beginning, I lived in the Netherlands until end of 2018. I lived in Amsterdam for the past 6 years of that period, and I was just really struggling to get by. I worked in hospitality and retail, and I tried all these different. I was job hopping. Like if you look at my CV, I have so many. I have so much experience in so many different fields. But I was never able to hold my attention to one thing, or be like, okay, and now this is the path I'm going to take, because my interests were just always changing. And I guess the same was with my studies as well. What I realized once I was in it for 1 year or 2 years, I was like, oh, this doesn't interest me anymore. Well, if it doesn't interest me, then why should I stay here? Why waste my time?
Staying,
And everybody around me, and of course my parents were like, oh God, is she quitting another study? And oh goodness, why can't she just follow
the path?
The path? Why is she's so risky, taking so many risks? My mom has, meanwhile, I think, accepted that I'm just a risk taker and kind of like a butterfly that's always fluttering around and not doing the normal thing. Normal.
Yeah, the normal thing, the thing that society tells you to do. Was there any initial point or anything that caused you to say, okay, now I need to break out here? Or is there anything that you said, okay, that so far, but not anymore. Not anymore. I have to break out.
Well, there were some moments where I kind of broke out half, as in I gave up my life in Amsterdam to go to Australia and on a working holiday visa, and just to have a little break, because
Okay.
that's how I thought, like, maybe I can try again later. I can always come back to that later. Let's go traveling a little bit,
Yeah.
experience the world a little bit more. And so I went to Australia, and there I was also working in hospitality in Melbourne. And there at some point I thought I was getting away from those feelings of anxiety and depression and everything, because I'm in Australia now, super cool country, new impressions and everything. Yeah, this is good. And then I was in Melbourne and working in a restaurant, and I did this for a few months, and at some point I felt that old feeling creep up again, like that I had in Amsterdam as well. And I was like, oh shoot, it's following me around. Like I can't escape it. It's really something internal. And that's when I realized, okay, yeah, I can go anywhere in the world. If I'm not like at peace within myself, it's gonna come with me wherever I go. And I can try to find all these different distractions, and it helps for a little while, but it always comes back.
Always.
And then, yes.
You're never at home when you're not at home with yourself.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And then, once I realized that, I just had like a complete mental breakdown again in Melbourne, and I had to go into therapy there, and got so depressed, or felt so depressed, that I wanted to take antidepressant medication again. And when I got into that loop again, but just on the other side of the world, I thought, okay, I need something drastic. Something needs to change here. And I decided to do a yoga teacher training to not necessarily to become a yoga teacher. I think for me, the motivation was more, I need to get out again. Get out, get new impressions, but for a little, like for a long period of time, but to focus on myself and go inward, and just dedicate this time to like self-development and an immersion in the practice of yoga, which I was doing already for a few years, just like taking classes and things. And I always felt really, grounded after yoga. So I thought, okay, maybe there's something there for me. So I went to Thailand, to Koh Phangan, and did my yoga teacher training there. And that's when I really felt this kind of like internal shift. And suddenly like the veil was lifted in front of my eyes. And I was like, okay, I don't have to try to, as you said, like tick all these boxes. I can go a completely different direction.
Yeah.
I can do...
You can create your own boxes and tick them.
I can create my own boxes. I can live a life that is a bit more slow.
Yeah.
Right? Not this rat race that I thought, if you want to be successful in life, then you have to be in the rat race. And during the yoga teacher training and on this little paradise island, I realized, no, you can take life very slowly and just enjoy little things. And you can also be happy with less in your life, less money, and like not as fancy a house, and not as like fancy clothes and things like that. Just be happy with much less, and that's where I found a lot more inner peace once I discovered that.
Yeah, also be happy with the really important things, not necessarily the materialistic things, but like a family. A loving husband, living, enjoying the sun 365 days a year.
Which is quite a luxury for if you live in Northern Europe.
Absolutely. But like these things that we also take oftentimes, especially after you live together with someone for quite some years, you take as granted, as to make it. We've come full circle, because your little daughter is taking nothing for granted. She's like amazed by everything, and normally we aren't anymore. And also what we can do is like to wake up a little bit and to take more things for, special, like for as special as they are, and to want less money, because at the end, many people have said it, but money can't buy happiness, right? Money really can't.
So true.
Yeah, it can't buy happiness. It can buy nice things, but not happiness. Not happiness. Yeah.
Absolutely.
How did your surrounding, like your family, your friends, react to your sudden shift?
Well, I guess nobody was really surprised that I took this completely different route, because they could already see that I was always just going from here to there.
Yeah.
I think mostly my family and friends were very supportive of my choices, and just happy for me that I finally, found a lifestyle, figured out a way of living that works for me. Taking things slow. And like a lot of people have said to me in the recent years, in the last 3 years, because this shift happened 3 years ago. People have said to me like, wow, you look so much happier. You look so much more calm. You sound much more calm. Your energy is calmer. And I said, yeah, I guess it's because I feel happier. I feel calmer overall, I still have my moments where I'm like in a depressive, dark hole for a little bit, but it doesn't take up my entire life anymore. It's just like, now I know, this is just a moment, and I sit in it and I'm present with it. And then I always know like the next up comes, and I'm just more at peace with everything. And I think it is because I've really minimized the amount of distractions in my life from outside.
Yeah. Was there something that really helped you? Like you said you were in therapy. Anything else you did that really helped you? Maybe as a tip for people who feel like they are in this rat race and not really happy, not really wanting to tick the boxes that society tells them or hands them out. Anything they can do before they have a breakdown?
Well, yeah, I guess, different things help for different people, but what helped for me in the end, which was hard for me to come to terms with, is that I needed to move out of the big city. I needed to move out of the city into a more peaceful environment, live closer to nature, which of course Tenerife is the perfect place for, because it has so much diversity in nature, and especially where we live. So my partner and I, we bought a farm, or like a piece of land 1 year ago, which is really like in a valley. Like it feels like you're in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, you showed me. It's amazing.
It's fantastic, and the only sounds that you can hear there are animal sounds. It's just like you hear the chickens and the rooster from that farm. You hear the donkey up the hill. You hear the dogs barking.
No motorway.
No traffic.
No planes.
Exactly. It's so peaceful, and just I look out my window and I'm not looking at the apartment building across the street anymore, into the house of my neighbor across the street. But I'm looking at a mountain covered with trees and plants and whatnot. And that for me made all the difference.
Awesome. So move out of the big city. Get rid of as many distractions as possible and focus on yourself, maybe.
Yeah, exactly. And that doesn't have to be forever, I can imagine some people are like, oh, but my life, I have my friends and my family, everyone lives in the city, like that's where I want to be. But even I think if you would just go out for a short period, like just, like a year or so, and and really try to live this like slow lifestyle, minimal input that can already make a big difference, and like recharge the battery and then go back into that city life, but with a new perspective and a new way of being, I guess.
Yeah, true. Yeah, I think many can benefit from that. I mean, many could also benefit from that, and think about more finding to themselves or taking care about themselves more. And I mean, we all know what downsides the city brings with it, like the noise, the distractions. It's just, and there are also like health downsides. And I think you have a very valid point in pointing out to maybe move out for a shorter period of time. Doesn't have to be forever, but can be for a year or a month even.
Yeah, or even if you don't have that much time. So like one of the things that has really, really helped me, that I still to this day think this is like the biggest gift I've given myself, is to do a 10-day Vipassana retreat, 10-day Vipassana course. So I don't know if you heard about Vipassana.
No, but it's something like yoga.
I mean, ultimately everything is yoga, right? Because yoga means oneness, means connectedness, interbeing. But it's Vipassana is the meditation technique practice that the Buddha used. It's how the Buddha became enlightened, or how or Siddhartha Gautama became the Buddha. And it's this 10-day silent, meditation retreat. And it's the beautiful thing about it is, because again, in the beginning, we were talking about monetizing on these spiritual practices. Vipassana is completely free. 10 days you go into this Vipassana course that is via the organization is called Dhamma, and it was founded by the Mr. S.N. Goenka. He's the teacher, and he teaches the Vipassana meditation technique. And you go there, everything around you is taken care of. You have a room, you have food every day. All you have to do is just mind your own business, be with yourself for 10 days, sit in meditation, and that's it. And there's you have to like give your phone away at the beginning, even your journal, anything that can distract you, a book, whatever, you give everything away. It's 10 days of no speaking, no eye contact with other people. It's really just going inward, which sounds very extreme. And in some moments for me, it was. But the way I came out of that retreat, to this day, I did it now over 3 years ago, still to this day, it changed my life. It changed how I look at the world. It changed, everything. And even the noise of the city, I was able to look at it with different eyes and with more acceptance, because suddenly, you're so used to the noise inside of you that the noise outside also doesn't matter anymore. It's like you come to terms with everything during those 10 days. So, recommendation.
You're the second one on this podcast to recommend that kind of retreat. One guy, Dirk, did it also. He was a very, very successful commercial guy, but then he had a burnout, heart attack, and he packed everything, moved to India somewhere or Thailand, and went to a monastery and did exactly one of these 10-day retreats. And he came back a different person. He's now a teacher for luck, not luck necessarily in German. The word is Glück. Happiness teacher.
Beautiful.
Giverny, considered everything you've experienced so far in your life, like the downsides, the upsides, the goods and bads. Are you happy where you are at the moment?
Yes.
thought
Yes,
so.
I am.
I thought so.
I am super happy,
Yeah.
really. And that doesn't mean, like I said, not always like up. Like I'm happy even in my lowest lows. It's like I'm just happy with everything because I'm trying to accept everything.
Yeah. It's also,
Which I think that is the biggest ticket to happiness is just acceptance.
Yeah. Yeah, true. You make a big point there. Given we've talked quite some while now. 45 minutes flew by.
Wow.
Let's tick the last 2 boxes of this podcast.
Let's.
Who do you have in mind for bringing on this podcast?
Yeah, so one of them, which I think could be really interesting for people to listen to, the story of my partner, Shai. His life is just so inspiring, just from beginning to where he is now. It's just like super, super inspiring. I've never met a person that I find so inspiring, honestly. And then another person I'd like to recommend is one of my best friends, Deenik. And she has a background in like business and economics, but she is now for the past, I guess, 4 years now, or also 4 years, she decided to follow her passion in life, which is sailing. And she's a skipper.
Awesome.
And she takes people out on boats, and she now lives in Greece. And yeah, she's also one of the most inspiring people that I know. She literally goes like
up and down,
goes with the flow.
Literally, yeah.
Yeah.
What book do you think people should read?
The Places That Scare You by Pema Chodron. Yes. Pema Chodron is one of my teachers. I haven't met her in real life, but I consider her one of my greatest teachers. She's a Buddhist monk. And she has written many, many incredible books. And The Places That Scare You, I think, especially for your listeners, and also it really helped me, is a book to read, because it's exactly what the title is about. It's like going to the places that scare you, it's facing your fears, to in the end find more happiness in your life.
Yeah. Giverny, thank you very much for your time and your story. It was a pleasure having you on.
Thank you. Thank you, Luke.
Hi.
Bless you. Gesundheit.
Thank you. Sorry. Yeah. Hachi.
Oh, that's okay. Happens to the best.
Yeah. I thought I could drag it out till we finished off, but nope. Nope, we can't.
We're still human. Human.
Thank you very much for your time, Giverny, for your time and your awesome story and the wisdom you shared with my listeners and me today. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you for having me and for giving me this opportunity. Really honored. And I hope that your listeners, that there were some little bits that might be helpful.
Yeah, for sure they are. Giverny, thank you very much again. And people out there, thank you very much again for listening, tuning in. Don't forget to subscribe, give a review on Spotify, check out Givernys and my page on Instagram. And I wish you all the best and stay healthy, be nice to each other, and we hear each other next week. See you there. Ciao.